What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens episode review. Today, guys, we are going to be going over episode 30 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. I still can't believe that we're already to 30 episodes into this show already. And guys, I'm very excited to get into it as always, so let's not waste any time and let's get straight into this episode review. So, what did I think of this episode? I thought this was a pretty interesting episode to say the least. Um, for two reasons. Well, you know what? Let's just get into it. So we start off with a very interesting scene of Gakuto getting this card assumedly from Ron's and Renazuki that they went on a trip with their family, even got the postcard and everything, and that's why they didn't appear to the camp, which obviously we know that is a lie. So basically, Galleon or someone in the 6th elementary group. And this already starts off with like some very interesting things because of the fact that now they're lying to say that Ron's and Renazuke were not even at the school, they were on a family trip, and that's why they never appeared. But we obviously know what happened. They lost or Ron's lost to Galleon, and they have to work at the school now. But now it gets to that situation where like now this is going to anger Gakuto more because not only have you been treating your friends like this, but you lied to them and said like, oh, they were away on their trip. So he was worried sick from the beginning, like he didn't know what in the world happened to him, but they were basically lying to him to the fact that, oh yeah, we know what happened to your friends. We basically took them in and they're now working for us at the 6th elementary school for the excavation club. And I can't wait for this rivalry between Gakuto and Galleon. I'm really excited for that, but we still have some time to wait on that, so let's just continue on. But Rook then comes into the room because I think Yuga and Roman were kind of noticing something with the photo, but Rook comes in and he says, hey, I have the sheet for the entering of the Rush Duel tournament, and they read the paper, and then they find out that this isn't a Rush Duel tournament. This is a trumpet duet tournament. What? I remember when I read this summary, I thought this was a very confusing summary because I honestly didn't know what to make of this. So, and I'm just gonna say this. I don't understand. Like, we've had some oblivious characters before. I think Judai, the main protagonist of GX, had some oblivious moments. I remember there was a time where he battled that. You guys remember that tennis episode in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX where he had to duel on that tennis guy to become Asuka's fiance? And Judai won, and then he went up to her and asked, like, so what's fiance? And that's where like you see like his stupidityness. And Rook has taken that to a whole nother level because they basically just explained what happened because they took to Sebastian and Sebastian had to look this up to see what in the world this was all about. And Rug wasn't still getting it. Like, he was not paying attention at all. He thought it was a Rush Duel tournament, even though I'm pretty sure that big old words on the top of it said trumpet duet duel. Obviously, I can't read Japanese writing. I cannot read that. I'm sorry. Or kanji, whatever. I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry. I don't write other languages besides English. I don't even write Spanish or anything like that. I just like English. That is only what I'm going to write, so I don't try to learn about the other writings, okay? So if I said it wrong, my apologies. But you get the point, basically. But Yuga decides, you know what, since you technically already put us into this tournament, let's just participate it in. And that's where we get to a situation. How are we going to do this? Well, the first thought they had was Roman. But Roman plays the guitar. That's not a wind instrument because that's what this is all about. Is like people competing using wind instruments. So that would be like the flute, the clarinet, the all those other types of musical instruments. That's what they had to end up using. And Roman only knows how to play the guitar, so that's not an option. Although there is a music group, there's like a music club for the 7th elementary, and Rook immediately was terrified, which is something you do not see in Rook. I think the first time we see him in this weird like state of like conflicting with stuff or like scared or something like that or I should say, even say emotion was episode 17, where he was just like, he was overthinking about, like, he felt like he was falling behind, and that Yuga was going to be the one to surpass him and become the dual king. And then we remember in episode 27 where he was having the whole conflict of people not wanting to join his group, and they're not understanding dueling and all that stuff and what it's all about, and that really hurt him a lot. And you just see him terrified in this episode. So they walk into the school, they can't find anything. They find these wooden walking robot looking things, and they just beat the crap out of Sebastian. Well, they hit him once, and then he ends up flying to a wall, and so does Kaiser, which I'm glad. I know I'm being mean to Kaizo. I know I am, but that was one of my favorite moments when they just Max Sebastian, he rammed into Kaizo and they were just on the wall. I didn't even think the ones with Rook when he was just on the wall, I think were just some of the funnier moments on that. They definitely tried to make that a little bit comedic, but they were in their room. They were a little bit terrified, but Rook was like on his knees, like he even started crying at this point. And then you see this big character, or like this character standing above him out of nowhere, and we find out that that's Rook's sister, which is known by Tiger. And holy crap, she she was a lot more impressive than I thought. And I'm kind of glad they went around with this character, and I'll kind of explain it during the review or the rest of the review. But she comes in, she calls like your idiot brother. You know, she yells so loud that actually blasts him into the wall. Like you see even the dent of her voice just causing him to fly into the wall and basically crack the wall, which I'm telling you this right now, he should be dead. But you know that this is anime logic. This is not just Yu-Gi-Oh logic, it's anime logic. I mean, we've seen worse. I mean, we've seen, like, I remember Yuzu and Yusako getting flown through a building, so we're used to this, but I still think that was pretty funny. But they kind of got into conversation. She realizes the whole situation, and they ask if they can teach her on them how to play a wind instrument and be able to compete in this tournament, since they're gonna have to compete in it anyways. And she applies on one condition: if she can be beaten in a battle. And she brought all these like different objects to see like what style they want to do. And Yuga stands up and is like, how about we rush duel using my invention? And she obliges. She says, "Oh, right, we'll do that. We'll duel." And that's where we get to the dueling situation where Yuga ends up dueling against Tiger, Rook's sister. And I will say though, I was really excited because of the hints they were saying with when it comes to Rook and this character, as before the duel even starts, she mentions that she beat Rook in a duel. The only character that we now know in the series that has beaten Rook was Tiger. Tiger is the only character that's beaten Rook so far in this series, which I was so glad that they did that. I was really hoping they would do that because I feel like we needed to show some vulnerability, and this honestly made the duel a little bit more unpredictable, because now you have the situation is like, oh, Tiger beat Rook. That is very dangerous because Rook beat Yuga the last time they dueled in episode 2. And now Yuga has to face this person that beat Rook, that beat him. So this made this duel way more unpredictable. It honestly almost made it towards Tiger's win because of the fact of the matter is that she beat Rook. And that's how like strong Rook has been shown as a character. He has not lost a single duel on screen since the series to start. Now we know that he actually has a loss in the series. Now that actually brings him back to the ground levels, because I don't think there needs to be a perfect protagonist. In fact, I don't, or not a protagonist, I should just say a character. I don't think we've really had, I mean, we've had perfect characters before, I'm not saying that, but, you know, I like the characters that are more grounded and more realistic in terms of their dueling records. I don't think anyone can really go undefeated. I think that's just never going to be possible. There's no way, because you're going to mess up one play or something like that, or have a bad hand. And this is even in real life. You're going to have a bad hand and you're going to end up losing unless you're going to be able to rebuild it up, or you get hit in the ban list, and that's what ends up happening, is that you can't use your combos anymore, or like to save yourself, and you end up losing a duel. So I don't, and even to anime standards, I don't think that is, unless it goes to a situation where they don't duel that much. Like an example is Lightning. Lightning never technically lost a duel if you don't want to count that revolver, which that, whole situation is a blunder in itself. Do you count it as a loss or do you count it as a draw? Which I'm not talking about it. I'm not giving you what I think about it. I'm probably on the majority of this. I don't know, but I don't know. Well, I don't know if I'm on the majority of this. I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about that. I don't want. I'm not gonna answer any comments about that just because I don't really want to get into that whole thing. I knew that was a big argument that was going around during Brains' running time, but that's not the focus of this. So that gets me really excited for the duel when we have that stake. We get into the duel. What were my thoughts? I was very satisfied with this duel, I'm going to be honest. We do see a new ace monster from Yugioh in this duel. We got to see Tiger's deck, which was the second type of like music themed deck that we've seen in the series. This focused on winds like trumpets, monsters. You had the clarinet. I forgot to mention trumpet and like trombone, like all the, even a tuba, I think it is considered a wind instrument. Again, it's been a minute since I've been in wind class, or not wind class, shoot. If there was an actual class like that, I wonder what kind of class that would be like. But haven't been in a music class in years, and I mean years, like almost like 10 years ago or something like that. It's been a minute, guys, since I've actually taken a band class. So yeah, if I don't know all the wind type instruments, well, there's nothing I can really do about that. But I was satisfied with the duel, and what was interesting about this duel is that I believe this was a 5-turn duel. I believe. No, 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 no. I think it was a 4-turn duel because you had Tiger went first, you had Yugioh, then Tiger again. She summoned her ace monster on the 3rd turn. Then Yugioh said is never mind. Still a 4 is still good, I guess. I mean, I feel like this is just what it's gonna be for the series is 3 or 4, with like the main antagonist being like 5 or 6 maybe. I feel like we're not gonna get more than 7 like we did. I think we got exactly 7 if I remember correctly in that Yugioh versus Neo duel, the second duel. So we're not gonna really see much, but I was surprised on that, honestly. I thought Yugioh was going to start to turn and just beat her, but I'm glad it lasted a little bit longer, I guess. I really don't know. I thought it was honestly 5 going into this, but well, you know what? You misinterpret stuff. It happens. But the duel was interesting, to be completely honest. Tiger goes in her first turn. She does interesting plays. She actually uses his monsters effects to get her monsters to the graveyard so that they can have their attack points grow. However, in the first turn, you know you can't attack, so it makes it very confusing because why is she sending cards to her graveyard when there's no point? Well, she's having it prepared for when it actually goes into Yugioh's turn, and that was what her whole deal was. And then we go into Yugioh's turn, and he's able to get out Seventh Road Magician pretty easily. He even tells the spell card that he sets. I think it was because of the effects on the field that he had to tell the card that he was setting, which I think it was like Curtain of Sparks or something like that. I think it was the trap card. But he places the trap card. He's able to get Sevens Roads Magician onto the field. He's able to activate Elemental Road to gain attack points. I believe there was 3 monsters in his graveyard, so he was able to gain 900 attack points, got it up to 3,000. Goes into the attack to go and destroy her monsters, leaves her with 2,100 life points left on the field. He ends his turn. We go into her turn, and she immediately goes into her ace monster, which is a very interesting name, to say the least. Its name is, I believe this is the ace monster. I might have the wrong thing pulled up, but it looks like it. A symbol fighter, the heavy music Oni. And I even like their summoning chant. Like, she shows like she can really do anything when it comes to like martial arts or playing music, whatever it is. She's shown that she can really do a lot of things. I mean, even her brother tries to challenge her to these different stuff, and we do learn that during the duel that, you know, Rook tried all these different things to try to beat her, and he thought, oh, maybe I can do dueling to beat her. Nope, she still beat him. And she even asked Yugioh questions like, where do you want this, what would you want your road's conclusion to be? What is your end goal for rush duels? And it was a simple answer for him. And then you had Rook coming in saying like he wants to become the duel king, and then you have Yuga saying the reason he wants to do it to make people smile because he feels like the game is too complicated. We already know about this story. He feels like the game is too complicated, so he wants rush duels to make it more fun for people to smile and have a good time rush dueling basically. So it was a really good moment there, and she even gets some respect for Yuga in that moment. I think it was actually at the end of the turn, but still I wanted to kind of mention that. But she summons her ace monster, and she's able just to obliterate his field. In fact, I think oh, no, no, no. She almost won the duel. Now remembering it right, because she had an effect where if she sent a monster to her graveyard, a wind warrior monster, then the activate her card's effect would make it gain enough attack points to defeat Yuga. However, she draws a spell card and it's not able to gain the attack points, but was able to still destroy Seven's Road Magician, went for 2 direct attacks, and was able to get him down to 400 life points. We go into Yuga's turn. And Yuga used some pretty interesting monsters, and he could use some new monsters during this duel, so that was pretty cool, and especially the big one, Cease the Mighty King of the Beast Wings, was the new ace monster that he did summon during this duel, which we already knew that this card was going to be seen sometime soon. This was in the same pack as Miragias, which was Rook's ace monster that we saw in episode 27. It is in the same pack. In fact, it's another one of the cover cards on it. It's the card that Yuga is holding and all of that adds. So was not surprised that this monster come in at all. He is able to activate its effects. He sets 2 cards. He sets 2 spark cards. This man played 3 spark cards in this duel. Oh my gosh. Nostalgia just flew right in when I saw those cards. Like, holy crap. It's been a minute since I've used sparks, dude. Holy crap. But anyway, he sets 2 sparks on the field. He's able to activate his Cease's effect, which is if your opponent has the same amount of monsters as you do a spell and trap cards, you can send him to the graveyard and wipe your opponent's field, which is insane. So you just, which obviously that is restricted because you got to make sure that you have, it has to be exact. It can't be over. It can't be anything. You have to set it exactly. But he was able to do that. She had 3 monsters in the field. He set the 2 sparks, activated the effect. But this man uses his 3rd sparks to deal 300 points of damage and direct attacks with Cease to win the duel. But before that, you had an interesting scene where she was where they were standing on these 2 pillars out of nowhere, and she does mention, like, you know, she's been watching over Rook, and basically the moral of it was is that she wants him to like continue to like grow and be able to get more enjoyment from dueling because of the way he lived his life. So, and that's another cool interesting thing though that they actually brought back, because we never saw that in episode 2. But the fact that they went all the way back to episode 2 with that Yuga and Rook duel, and that she was actually watching over her brother, I mean, that's a sisterly love right there. Even though she like calls him an idiot brother and all that, you know, that's still family love right there. But she ends up losing a duel. Rook is just like overexcited because of the fact that her sister lost, and because he's going like, I remember just seeing this, and this was absolutely funny because I feel like this is any like younger sibling ever. Is that like he was like overjoyed? He's like, oh yeah, Yuga beats you, and because I beat Yuga, I technically beat you. She screams at him, he flies at a wall, and then they end up going into training as they promise, and that was the entire rest of the episode. They were just practicing on breathing, which was her entire thing. I didn't even mention that was like the reason she's able to do all these different things was because she's able to concentrate her breathing. Like that's why you see during the duel, she's like like she was breathing in and out basically. That's what that was. I don't know why I did that, but that was the whole reason why she was able to do everything was breath. And then you also had that like tiger roaring and all that. But guys, that is going to be it for this review. Very excited to talk to you guys about this episode down below. Let me know all you guys' thoughts on this episode down below. Let me know what you guys think of Rook having a sister, and what did you think of her sister? Do you think she's going to return? Which I'm going to say this right now. I think this is going to be the last time we honestly see her. Well, no, 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 I can't say that. I take back what I just said there because they've done in this series where they haven't really like strayed away from characters. The only characters we have not seen in a very long time, or that I don't think is ever going to return, is Schrodinger and Arya. That's the only two characters I do not see returning. They have not returned since their last duels, so maybe they'll return. But they've made it seem like they've always been bringing back their characters, so maybe she'll come back. I have no idea. I would love to see a Rook versus Tiger duel, but I don't know if we're actually going to be getting that. Or at least for right now, I don't think it's the time for that. But excited to know all your guys' thoughts on this episode down below. And guys, that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, guys, take care and have yourselves a great rest of your day.